and welcome to Family Tree Talk, our lovely family history podcast. My name's Helen Tovey, I'm editor of Family Tree, and with me is my excellent co-host,
Nathan Ward, hello there.
Hello, how are you, Nathan?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. As ever, we've got some lovely podcast feedback.
Oh, lovely.
I know, I do like our podcast listeners.
What have they said?
Well, do you know what? As a little sidetrack, so I've just come out of a different AI bootcamp meeting, which we'd had with the customers on their AI bootcamp. And one of them was talking about the podcast. And so an ancestor of hers, it's Alison's ancestor, who was called William Christmas Day. And we've given him a shout out on the podcast, obviously at Christmas time. Anyway, she's only gone and done this amazing AI story about him with beautiful infographics. Just absolutely stunning. So it's been all go. Anyway, that's not the shout out. The shout out is, let me find it. So Simon wrote in to say, hi, Nathan and Helen. He's a big fan of the podcast, having listened since the beginning. He's a brave chap, isn't he?
Really is, yeah. Poor
Yeah.
guy.
And this is a good news. He says, despite having researching his family tree for over 30 years, he still picks up the odd trick or suggestion to help grow his tree. So thank you. Thank you for listening, and we're pleased it's a bit helpful. Anyway, he's now got some help for you as well, though, Nathan. So he said, Nathan, you mentioned recently the challenge of keeping track of your progress and remembering where you are on the tree. And he agrees. He thinks that Ancestry's tree, the tree view, can be quite confusing sometimes, particularly how it changes when you select to focus on each individual. And this is another area where he thinks that genealogy software is better. So he uses Family Historian, and from what I can understand over the years, over quite a lot of years, people who use Family Historian just never have a bad word to say about it. It has a very, very loyal user base. It seems to just appeal to a lot of people. I think it is quite a complex program, but you don't have to use all of the bells and whistles, and people who use it love it. Anyway, he uses Family Historian, and it allows him to create an interactive diagram interface to enter information. You can add flags for census years and certificates. You can customize fields, and it means you can instantly see generational levels. You can instantly see what information you've already found and what is left to work on, because those two bits are crucial, aren't they?
Definitely.
Whether you're working backwards through the ancestors or working down and out, he finds this is the simplest way to keep focused and to track his progress. So thanks, Simon.
Very lovely.
Yes. So one day, I think you are going to branch out into family history software.
Yes, probably. I mean, I'm just literally looking at my tree now, and it looks like chaos. When I click on anything to open anyone else up, it just opens siblings up as well, and the tree just looks bonkers. I'm sure there must be a way to turn that off. I'll do a bit of digging. I'm sure I told it to actually open siblings up at some point, so it's probably my own fault. Whatever.
This is what always happens in the podcast. So we start talking about things for the podcast, and so what you as the podcast listener can see is nothing. You can just hear us, but what I can see is Nathan, and I can just tell by his face that he's stopped concentrating on what I'm saying and he's sneaking off and doing some more family history. He's just outrageous.
No, it's not true.
It is true.
It is true.
You get this slightly distracted look. You're just away with the ancestors.
Well, it's like, whilst we're in that mood, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll just dip in and check this out. Okay, I'll be a good boy.
You keepish. Yes.
Mm.
So how has your family history been getting on anyway? You are allowed to talk about it.
Okay, thank you. It's actually gone very well. I'm not sure I'm going to actually be able to go through it all properly, because I feel like I've done a lot in quite a short space of time and found lots of things. I can't quite quantify it all. So I have found all of my third great-grandparents. So that's all done.
A milestone. That's major.
It is, but I haven't let myself put the final one in. So again, like I said, can I get through all of this in a sensible chronological order? Most of it came together quite nicely. So I think I needed 5 people when we last spoke, and it all had a very scarily easily natural flow where I was finding people correctly, like looking at the children, finding the parents, and obviously it was the mother's maiden names that were causing the issues, and it all just seemed to link. Again, I was getting a lot of help from hints. I was checking my information, checking locations, and I actually found profession was very good as well. That really helped me be like another thing to cement. Is this the right person? Yes, it is, because the professions are matching up, and it was all quite nice. So I got through 3 or 4 people doing that, and now I'm left with it's Thomas Booth's mother, who I know is called Elizabeth Booth, and I won't let myself put it in the tree. I don't know why. Why won't I? It's something to do with the fact that it started offering me different maiden names. And also, she's one of these people that's been called Betty, Elizabeth, Lizzie, Eliza. So it just all got a little bit confusing, and I feel like I want a marriage certificate to cement it. I can't describe it to you. I just haven't let myself do it, despite the information all looks really good. It looks really solid, but I've just got a little small percent of doubt that says if I put this in, it'll send me off on a path that actually might not be correct.
Well, I think you've done so well so far. You don't want to go and destabilize your solid research, do you, by being a little bit too hasty at the end? It's really tempting with any goal just to rush the last bit and go, oh, that'll do. Or is that just me? Is that an awful insight to my brain?
No, I think you're right. I think finding all the other people so readily as well, everything just naturally led on. This one is causing me to pause and think about it, even though it looks solid. But I don't want to just take Ancestry's hints as fact. And the hints look good, but there still feels to be a gap in between what I currently know and what the hint's telling me. And a marriage certificate would just really help that. So I need to do that. I'm basically struggling to find birth records for the children, which is then going to give me the mother's maiden name, hopefully, on either the GRO or free BMD. But my direct descendant, Thomas Booth, I actually, again, through hints, I have a potential date of birth. But when I search the indexes, it just does not appear at all.
So you've searched, you're searching the General Register Office indexes. So you could be searching them at the GRO website, and you could be searching them on FreeBMD or via Ancestry. Yeah. So then there's other options that you can do. Is you could look at parish registers, because obviously just because you get to 1837, parish registers do continue to be kept after that date.
Right.
With that before, haven't we? Up to present time, so they're worth looking at. Even though it's a baptism, not a birth date, sometimes they do actually include the birth date on it, but also it can just help as an alternative source to try and anchor the start of your ancestor's life.
Yeah, I mean, in typical fashion, having talked about it, I've just pressed the buttons again and found it without.
Have you? Well, should we give a shout out to the local registers as well? Yeah.
Go for it.
So this is a kind of another useful thing to do if you can't find your ancestor in the General Register Office indexes, because obviously the local registrar would keep the registers and then they would get sent off to the General Register Office. So in that process, inevitably, some entries are going to get garbled or lost, aren't they? So it can be a good idea to go back to the local registers if that's the case. It's not as easy to access, because you haven't just got one-stop shop. You're looking in lots of. You're going to have to know which is the local register office for your register, that sort of thing. So it's not so easy. You may or may not find that you can get an online index for the area where your ancestor lived. A good place to look is UKBMD, and there are some areas which have got their local register indexes up there. Then you can order order a certificate locally. Yeah.
So many places to look.
I know, there are so many places to look. And it's a bit like with shopping, isn't it? So, in the modern day world, many of us, even if we don't particularly like it, if we love the idea that we're going to go to the farmer's market and the local bakery and everything else, and we might sometimes do that as a treat, but in the daily flurry of our everyday lives, we do tend, judged by the car parks, to end up in supermarkets buying everything at the place where it's convenient. Yeah. And so You can buy whatever you want as long as it's in the supermarket. And it's the same with the big data companies. You can access whatever you want that they have within them, but they obviously don't have everything, do they? Yeah.
True,
If you want
very
more
true.
specialist stuff, you're going to have to go elsewhere.
It is interesting, isn't it? I've not actually done this yet, but obviously a few weeks ago we had a discussion about, I can't remember his name now. Samuel Redhead, was it? The vicar at Carver Church.
Oh, yes.
So I was doing a bit of digging, thinking I'll go and try and find this guy when I actually next get down there, which I'm gonna do. And I accidentally did a bit of internet research, and I ended up on some chess website that actually had a plotted history of either him or his father or his child, because one of them was like really good at chess and went to Oxford. But it was a website about chess, but it actually was family history, all this information. It had so many facts and figures and dates. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, we need to share that with the reader. This is where you find out, or the podcast listener rather, this is where you find out that's actually their website and they know all about their chess ancestor.
Yeah, it was just fascinating. Like, I was like, why am I on a chess website doing family history? It was just such a weird thing, but very cool.
Mm.
Hmm.
Because family history weaves itself in everywhere. It's just such a useful answer to solving so many mysteries, learning about our local places we live and everything, isn't it? All those skills we use for our family history can be used for other things.
Yes.
Searching local chess players and when the sewers got put in your village, everything.
It was one of those ones where I was looking at it, getting really intrigued, and like, this isn't actually my relative. What am I doing?
This is a rabbit hole of a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
You are now truly lost.
I was like, oh, this is quite exciting. I have a chess ancestor. No, I
Yes.
don't. They're not mine.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a few different interesting things. I'll go back to Thomas Booth later. I've found his birth stuff now, so that's great. I found lots of different interesting things. Again, I'm trying not to get distracted, but one set of second time great grandparents, in searching for obviously my third, which I did, I found that they've got a World War One war pension. I don't know if it was theirs or their son's. Would that make sense? If their son died in the war, they would get the pension.
I think that would be right because they would be. Well, this is a really good question. So, you would think you'd need to be a dependent, or maybe you could, because well, my thought would be there'd be. Let's say you were a widow and you had some children. You're going to get a pension either for being the widow, and you might get a little bit. This is me completely talking off the top of my head. You're going to get a pension until the children reach adulthood for each of the children. Like maybe you're going to get a slight increment for each of those children. I don't know. Maybe you just get one figure of pension, but it would make sense if there was a slight increment for one child, two child, three children.
Mm.
Yeah. So it could be a son who's, because I know with your what do you call them, the things you have, then you on the records it would say your next of kin, and so you're going to say who they're going to, who needs,
Yeah.
who's going to, in the First World War, who could get sent the medals, who could, all of that sort of stuff. Point of contact. The effects, that's what the word is. The effects, which just basically means like your pocket watch and your pen and your little notebook you had and any letters you had in your pocket. So if you died, those are your effects, those little objects.
Right. I mean, 'cause the only reason I wondered this was because their children, my great grand uncle, was Albert, who we've discussed before. He died in the war in France. He's the guy that I've got all documentation for. The one where somebody's married him off in a different family tree. So I wondered if they were getting, because obviously the age range is a bit interesting. The father would have been much older had he been roped into World War One. But I wondered if his death then tied the pension to his father. Anyway, it came up as a...
Can you share that? Can you share the document on screen and we'll have a quick look and see if there's any clues that, and we can try and possibly see.
Roger that. So yeah, there's not much information on it because it's in that what's it called, phase 10 or whatever the heck it is.
What Forces War Records?
Yeah, Fold 3, phase
3.
that's the card game. But there is a document tied to him there, and it mentions his wife.
I suspect it's not I suspect it's not your ancestor, unless you know that there's very few people who he could get confused with. Because it says your ancestor was born, that David was born in 1864. So he's going to be really old in the time of the Second World War.
Yeah.
That's what.
Exactly. That's what made me wonder if it was passed down, because the death date is correct and his name's correct.
Oh no, next of kin. Beg your pardon. So his name, and then his next of kin is the same name as his own name. Okay, so yes, this would be related to him. So is David John Hearn, born in 1864, got a son called David John Hearn?
Oh, that's interesting, because I hadn't even thought that. I went straight to Albert. He's got a David G. Hearn son, but not a David John.
His son David G. Hearn looks very plausible because he's born 1890. So he's a perfect fit for serving in the First World War, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he's like I said, his brother did as well. Albert, who died, but it looks like David survived. Interesting. It is a rabbit hole. It's not something I really need to know, but again, it's that nice shiny new document and something to look in. There's service numbers and things to know out there, so I'll dig into that at some point.
Yes, dig into it. Keep a record of it all. You could even just put maybe with your maybe hints, or just copy all the details out, because occasionally you and some of the big data companies, they do free access to the military records over the Remembrance Sunday period, or that sort of thing. Then if you do that, then you'll be all primed and ready to go.
Yeah. Like even the wife's name is the same, like the mother's name.
No, I think it is your family. I think it's his. It's your direct line's sibling, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's cool. That's another thing for me to look at, because I am interested in trying to find war stories. So that will be a side quest for another day. What else did I struggle with? Oh, this is
stop there. I think this is a bit of a story happening, because this is a World War I pension ledger and index cards, and he died on the 16th of March 1923. So again, talking off the top of my head, that looks as though he sustained some sort of injury in the First World War on account of his service in the First World War, and it has taken its toll on him, and he's not died for 5 years after the end of the war. 4.5 years.
But then he's 50. He died at 59 though, which just seems. It seems.
One who has the pension? Oh, this is so confusing.
Isn't it? It's intriguing. That's what made me wonder if it was one of his children, and then he just got the pension ledger thing. But again, I'm making stories up.
No, that's right. So I'm saying it's not his. It's not that one. It's not the one who's born in 1864. It's the one who born in the David G. Hearn, born in 1890. That's his pension record.
Right.
And but his mum and dad are mentioned at the bottom as the next of kin.
But death date says 1923.
Yeah, which is that your David's born 19. Is that not say 23?
He died in 1923, but his son didn't. So the reference on the card says that David John Hearn died in 1923. So that would suggest that it is my second-time great-grandparent who died at, what did I just say, 63 or something? Anyway, lots of confusion, something for me to iron out, and it's not vital for what I'm actually doing. I'm trying to be really focused, but it keeps pulling me in. Another one that I had, again, like I said, I'm literally going through each of these guys that I was filling in the gaps for. I've got George Gill and Elizabeth Wardle. I know these people to be correct. I don't have death dates. I've got lots of information missing. I think my next task actually will be to iron out death dates for anyone I don't have a death date for. Oh no, I'm gonna write that down. Right. Anyway, these two, I found their marriage certificate, but their marriage certificate was a scan from somebody else's tree. So it's not an ancestry, someone's gone to an archive and scanned or photographed or ordered the certificate. And all the details check out: the ages, the parents, the location, the names. So everything's right. So I know it's concrete. but I equally don't want to link it to my tree because then I've not linked to anyone else's tree yet in my research. Am I being weird? Should I do it?
Well, so you're right to be cautious about obtaining information from somebody else's tree, but if all the details check out and you've done your double check to make sure that the other people you're not getting, aren't other namesakes you're getting in a muddle with, then the only reason I'd advise you personally not to add this information from somebody else's tree is because that will affect your tree score. And I know your tree score is very, very precious to you. But we learnt the other week that if you add details from other people's trees, ironically, Ancestor your ghost says this potentially compromises the quality of your research. And we're going to demote your downgrade your tree score. So what I would suggest that you do is you can type up those details, add it in as a fact and a source manually. It's a bit faffy, but you'll retain your tree score and you'll have all the information. Yeah.
Okay. It was just a very weird one because it was literally, this is a document I'm looking for. All the information matches. It gives me obviously parents' names and jobs and ages and dates.
Hmm. And you could probably go and track down this record yourself as well. So looking at it, Nathan's sharing his screen, and it's a marriage register entry scan. And so it's the scan of the page, and it's actually got two couples' marriages on there because it's just a scan of the register page as opposed to an actual certificate. So you can go and track this down as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might feel a bit cheaty, but potentially you could download that image and then upload it yourself. But that feels a bit sneaky.
Bit cheeky,
Feels a
yeah.
bit cheeky. Yeah, I think you should go and track it down yourself. But in the meantime, transcribe all those details out and add them to your tree as a fact and a source.
Nice. It's very interesting because I said it the other week. The further back you go, the more I'm getting member photos and member citations and sources because I guess they're not readily available on Ancestry yet, or people are putting extra details together from anywhere they can to try and flesh these people out, which is cool. It's great to see, and it does match up with a lot of stuff that I've been looking at, but it equally makes me feel cautious. I've also had a few troubles where I've added someone to the tree. I had this last week. I've added someone to the tree, and based on a hint, and one example, it was a marriage certificate. It took the husband, it took the wife to be, it took the paternal father, but it didn't take the maternal father. And I had it happen twice on two documents, and I don't know why, but it would not associate with the paternal father, so I had to put it in manually. If I tried to link this image to someone on my tree, it would try and replace the daughter's name with the father's name, which it just looked like I was going to accidentally delete someone, so I chickened out and didn't do it. But I've had that happen a couple of times. I don't know what I'm doing wrong there, but
I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I've had that where sometimes it's extremely helpful and it will definitely I think it's when it's absolutely certain of the relationship, then it will let you add that. And then other times it will do what you said, it will completely confuse two people. You're like, wait, why have you put that person in as the alternative person? And it is annoying when you have to just, as you say, do it all separately. And sometimes it means you have to go right back, like, that document exists, then go right back, search for that document again. This is what I have to do. Maybe I'm missing something. And then add the missing person in, add the record in for the person who wouldn't be allowed.
yeah, that's exactly what I ended up doing. I was
If
trying
anybody knows an easier way, let us know, because it's faffy, isn't it?
I was trying to find a get around that just naturally pulled it in,
Mm.
but it looked like everything I was going to do would affect somebody else that I'd already put in. So I then just did the manual search and found the document and linked it to whoever it was, Ted. I've just made up a name, and that worked, but it felt like extra work. I guess I'm lazy now. It felt like extra work when it wasn't naturally transcribed. And I also had another one where it was a census, and I had a census document where it was related to one of my ancestors. So I was like, oh, great. It was a hint, went to it, but the transcript was pulling in information from 3 other people on this particular page that weren't related to me. Yet at the top of the page, I could see 3 or 4 entries that were my ancestors.
Mm.
And it was very confusing. So I added it to this ancestor, but I had to say no to all the information that it was wanted to pull in, because despite it being the right page, it was looking at somebody else's details.
This has happened to me, and when it happens to me is because I'm doing it on my iPad and my finger like slides around, and so I search for John Smith. Up comes my correct John Smith, for instance, and then by mistake my finger slides around on the image of the census page. Before I know it, I've got Adelaide Dukeley. These are all made up names, and I'm like, wait, I don't want Adelaide's, I want John's details. So all you have to do is go back to the image, make sure your finger's definitely pressing on the person you search for, and then it will pull in that correct household. I think that's
Right.
That's what I always have to do all the time.
This just seemed weird. It seemed like it was naturally just transcribing somebody else's details. I sorted it in the end, but it was just another one of those lazy frustrations.
Wasn't it your finger sliding around as well, or not?
I don't think so, because I'm on a computer doing it.
Well,
So
it could be, your mouse could slide around, like if you scroll up and down, you'll see the little yellow, whatever's highlighted is the bit which is going to pull in to let you add to your tree.
right. It didn't look like that on mine, but
Oh,
sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's very strange.
okay.
I've got lots of little oddities for you. So the last set of people that I brought in, I am actually being a bit naughty here. I've just looked at my tree, and the last 2 people that I needed to bring in were Sam Wood and Charles Booth and their partners. Charles Booth is the one that I'm questioning, can I add the mother? I have just obviously found that birth record for their son, so I will do. It's Elizabeth Chadwick. But then another one, Samuel Wood, I've got his wife, Mary Ann, but I do not have her maiden name. And this is another one where Ancestry was throwing me loads of hints, and the hints became so entangled, crossed over and weaved, it made it look like potentially this guy'd married twice, but then had children, but then the children's birth date was actually before the second marriage, but it looked like the second marriage was the mother. All of which could still be true, but it scared me a lot. So I haven't followed this through. This one I need to flesh this one out a lot to find out the proper answers, because either the hints aren't stacking up or they are stacking up, but I can't find the details again of the mother's maiden name. So I do need to again research the children, but I was stuck on the Charles Booth one before then. So that's it. That's my boring update for my third times great grandparents. So
well, it's like you're 99% there with your 3 times great grandparents. You have pretty much found them all. You're just doing those last little checks, aren't you?
yes, I am so close. It's like I'm confident of who they are. It's confirming those last 2 mothers' maiden names. And then I can either go on to some of my little side quests, or I can come up with another plan. I have to say, looking at my tree now, I've got a lot of people without death dates. And that's making me think maybe I want to find everybody's death date and just... I think when I first started doing my tree, I was very just about the facts, wasn't I? I was like, I want a birth date, a death date, and a marriage date. I think I quite like to do that, actually.
Well, that's a great next goal, because your first goal for the year was to find all your 3 times great grandparents. We're only early on in the year, and you found them all pretty much. And so the next step, finding their death dates and building up their lives a little bit. Brilliant, great.
Yeah,
next step.
I might have to step back a few generations though, because I think I've got some earlier people that I still don't have death dates for. Flesh them out. I have a question. I was talking to my mum the other day, and I realised I didn't put my grandparents, my grandparents' brothers and sisters on my tree.
Yeah.
So my mum got some flowers from her auntie, my great auntie, and I'm like, she's not on my tree. I haven't put any detail. Like I've got some of her. I've got my granddad's brother on there, but I hadn't put another brother, and I haven't put her on. I was like, why haven't I done that? So
Yes.
I went to add them, and I know some information, and obviously my mum knows some information, so that's fine. And obviously, the closer you are to the present day, the fewer documents there are. But the 1939 register appeared. And so in this family, there's 4 siblings, there's 3 brothers and 1 sister. But I can only see the information for one of them. And then there are 3 blacked out lines. Why are they blacked out?
Because they were born within the last 100 years. So the 1939 register has a 100-year closure period,
Okay.
taken on the 29th of September 1939. So anyone who's born since the 29th of September 1939 will have a black line. You can apply, and if you have a death certificate for them, and say this is a death certificate for them. Obviously, you can't see who's behind the black line, so you have to be hazarding a guess that you know let's say you know the parents' names, and there's 3 lines there, and you know that they're 3 children who were born in 1940, 1941, and 1942, or whatever the years are, doesn't matter, but sometime after 1939. So you're hazarding a guess that's their 3 children. You can say these people have died. Please, can you unredact the record? Yeah.
Aye, okay.
And I think it's in the National Archives. When the 1939 first came out, Find My Past is the company which got licensed to do it, and you had to go either via the National Archives or Find My Past. And then since then, the 1939 has become available elsewhere, and I haven't kept up with where you need to go to get any information unredacted. But
Right.
the 1939 would be a good place, and also on my to-do list, because we're gradually making our website a lot more helpful, is to write a guide to the 1939 register, because I have actually written articles about it in the magazine when it first came out 10 or more years ago, and then we've got lots of useful information about it. We just need to share it online so people can get on with their research. So that will be happening soon, in the next week or 2. Yeah.
Well, sounds very good. I am a little confused. For example, my granddad, Mr. Dennis Wood, he was born in 1929, so why is he not redacted?
Because that's over is after he should be redacted.
I mean, they're all dead. Could they have just been...
So if somebody's notified them that they are dead.
Right.
No, what I've just said is rubbish. It's not that they have to be 100 years old since 1939. It's 100 years since their birthday.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. But still, he should
But it's to protect people's privacy. Yeah.
My granddad shouldn't appear for another
4, 5,
8 years. Yeah.
3 years. Yeah.
Curious.
Curious.
Because on the other side of it, can I navigate my tree?
That's a really important point, that misinformation I gave. It's 100 years since their birthday. Yeah? Because it's like the normal historic closure periods. Quite often it's like 100 years, records from 100 years since somebody's birthday, 75 years since their marriage, and 50 years since their death. Quite often they will get treated differently, and they'll be harder to access or completely redacted. Yeah?
Right, okay, cool. So I think this document is the one I was talking about. So this is my nana, who is Betty Wood. And the one above it's redacted, and the 2 below it are redacted. She's got a brother and 2 sisters who are around. So that must be them. But 2 of them are dead. Interesting.
So you could ask for them to be unredacted. It depends how important it is to your research. So if you think what information you're going to get, if you get it unredacted, you get their birthday, which you may already know, and you might get their occupation. So
yeah, it isn't vital. I can actually get this information from my mum or my auntie, or my great auntie, should I say. It just intrigued me that they were redacted. He answered that question.
It's really cool. So the record, potentially, it was a big like fanfare when the 1939 register got released, because if you think of censuses, then typically we'd have to wait for 100 years before a census came out. Not always. It depends with what the census the Census Act applied to. But then the argument by this very well-known genealogist who's passed away called Guy Etchells was that this isn't a census, and so it didn't fall under the Census Act, and so it managed to get released, I think, in about 2015. And so obviously that's well in advance of 2039. If it had been come under the Census Act, then we would be waiting until 1st of January 2040 to see this record. And so it's actually really clever what the archives did was to be able to granularly release it so that people, who had been born over 100 years since the date of release, their details could be seen, and then other people have this line by line. This record is officially closed black redaction line, and that's real care and attention to release of records, and a real boon and exciting opportunity for us as family historians, isn't it?
It really is. It's cool.
Yeah, very clever.
Good stuff. Right, well, I apologise for all that. I feel like I've just jumped about all over the place, but that's where my research led me this week. I got a lot of information quickly, and it just went all over the place. I'm largely happy with my quest. I just need to be brave and agree about the maiden names of those last two people. Lovely.
Before we wrap up, shall I quickly say what I've been doing?
Of course, yes.
Is only carrying on with my little project to do my forwards, researching forwards in time tree and searching out the siblings. And so I've been having a lot of fun with passenger lists because I've just been with this family in Ireland, and the children are born between like the 1870s up until the early 1900s. The mum has children for a long time, like about 3 decades of childbearing, which is astonishing, isn't it? And anyway, so lots and lots of the children, she had 12 children, keep hopping on ships and sailing over to Canada and America. And then I find them in Canada or America on the arrival ship manifests, saying what they're going to do next. And some of them are going to go and live with one of their siblings who's already gone over there. I was like, I just love this. So I'm managing not to get distracted because I am trying to stick to my project, but I'm like, I need a map, I need pictures of the ships, I need a whole lot, don't I? But I managed not to do that. I have got an atlas, like a paper atlas, sitting on my desk, and I'm totally tantalized the whole time to keep finding out where all these places are, where they're going.
That sounds really cool. That does sound really
Oh,
interesting.
it's so fun. And it kind of feels very heartbreaking because at least 3 of the children have died. So that's really obviously sad for my ancestors, isn't it? And then a lot of them, maybe like, I don't know, 5 or whatever, are emigrating. So actually, it's really important as well for getting that sense of that family. It's easy to think, they had 12 children, this great big happy family. It's like, not a bit of it. Like, some have died, some have emigrated. All those children were born over quite a long time span. So some of the older children would have left home by the time the younger children were getting born, and they may never have really known each other. It's so strange. And then the reason you think, okay, we're looking in the early 1900s into the 1920s of Ireland, of people travelling out to America. And it's like, well, there's tough economic times, there's war, there's obviously lots of national turmoil in Ireland.
Yeah, it's not as romantic as you potentially
Yeah, it's
initially think.
stressful and also admirable, of a family just keeping on trying to make things work for them. So out of these 12 children, one of them became a bishop and married somebody who's pretty aristocratic with a very fancy surname. Like, when you hear the surname, you're like, yes, you're definitely, maybe not an aristocrat, but you're definitely like a prestigious family. It's like unusual, yeah? And then another of them is a maid. It's just the children, the paths that those children, that their lives take is so different.
Yeah, that's bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
It's quite the range.
yeah. Most of them end up being maids and labourers and things like that. But
Yeah.
just, I
Not
don't know how
everybody
this
can
guy
get
winged it to become a bishop.
That's cool.
Amazing, isn't it? Anyway,
It
so that's
is.
what I've been doing. I can carry on with that.
You're making me want to go down rabbit holes.
Well, I'm managing not to go down the rabbit holes. I've downloaded the records, and I have managed not to look at a single picture of a single vessel. I've managed not to look at a single place on a single map. Once I've got them all, though, is my treat. Once I've got it all established, then I'm allowed to follow it up.
That does sound good. I do like a good vehicle. That does make me tempted because I've obviously got that one person that I found going to Canada, and it's like a ship's manifest for that. And I know I circled that as a rabbit hole ages ago for one to go back to, but you're making me tempted to have a look at that. Oh man,
So-
no,
I think we better wrap up now.
guess we should.
I think we should do. So thanks for sharing your progress. I continue to be really impressed. I think we're going to have to get people in to help, like all of that. There's lots of things that I can't help you with. So we're going to have to call in some experts, I think, to help us.
Cool. I'm getting tangled a little bit. It's the unpacking it all. I'm doing it. Obviously, I've done it so quickly these last few bits, but I do feel there are mysteries there, and it's obviously getting harder the further back I'm going now. Like for the fourth time great grandparents, I'm a little bit terrified. I have a few of them that have popped up, but like this potential double marriage and the birth thing, I need to like sit down and properly look at that, not just right, I'm getting facts. I need to actually delve in and research everybody around it, which I actually really enjoy doing. So maybe that might be my little side quest next, just to unpack that particular line whilst it's fresh in my head. So I keep saying it, that's the hard thing, isn't it? You go back later on to somebody where you're like, oh, I had this mystery, and you have to refresh it on everybody, and then it's not just them, it's their children, and then their children's children, and merging it all together.
I think that's good. That time refreshing is a very, very good idea. Extremely good idea. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. If you'd like to go over to our website, we have got loads of cool guides for practical, organized information about sourcing records, finding out records to help you do your research. And so that's just over at www.family-tree.co.uk. And we've got some cool events coming up, haven't we? We've got lots of things about DNA happening. Yeah, happening through March. Things to help people find their way around ancestry and MyHeritage, to help them find their way around their DNA match lists. So that's the starting point. More advanced learning with DNA Painter and some of the DNA Painter tools. More advanced with Y-DNA testing. There's always more to learn. Anyway, it's cool.
Nice one. Happy researching, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.